we can all agree that this morning's session was really amazing. So let's get ready for this afternoon. Our first speaker is our keynote for the day, and it's Professor Elaine Rumble, who I met this morning for the first time. We almost got into a bit of a rumble early in the morning. And she's the Managing Director of the Creative Leadership Consultancy. I'm really looking forward to this 25 minutes we're going to spend with her. Some insights, some naked truths on Elaine is she likes pineapple and anchovy on pizza. Okay. She stalked second-hand bookshops for vintage girls' annuals, and she preferred stamps to dolls as a child. She really wanted to be a ballerina and a gymnast when she was little, but she had little talent for either. And she's also a great believer in JOMO, which is the joy of actually missing out, which I love. So welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
Elaine will be talking about befriending playfulness, bravery, and curiosity in a schoolyard of commerce, and I am nervous.
Thank you so much for having me. I really do feel honored to be here because marketing has an incredibly soft spot in my heart. Because I think it's a place that when commerce and creativity collide, you have magic. And when they work synergistically, you have all kinds of beautiful. It's also a place that matters to me because it's where so many artists have their home. So today is very, very much about how do we move into behavior that brings the best out of all of us. So I too did some research around what the challenges are that are facing your industry. And as one marketing person said, when they saw this list, they said, "This gives me the sweats." But I think these challenges are real. And if I could kind of condense it into one or two thematics, I think we're operating in a world in terms of the marketing industry where you are faced with increased volatility, massive uncertainty, and disintermediation in your field. And I think so often the gut response to this is to say, well, if all these things are happening at speed, if I cannot take control of what's happening in the environment that I operate in, I'm just going to try and operate with certainty, with command, and with control. And I'm just going to get the job done. Because there's a lot of pressure on me, there are a lot of people I need to impress, so let's just get going. And I think the tragedy is that when we have that kind of mindset, we move into very, very toxic company. Because these are the bullies in the playground of commerce. And I thought what was so interesting about the conference today is I asked a few marketers, about, do you sort of exhibit any sort of bullying behavior? Not one person said they did. So none of you are bullies. So anyway, this is for your colleagues that are. So I wanted to share my own experience of becoming a bully. And it was very humbling for me. When I, for the first time, had to manage a team, I had 8 people that had to report into me. We had a big budget. We had massive impact that we needed to create. There was a strong sense of being time-starved. And I felt all of that pressure. So what I did was I hung out in toxic company. I was in command, I was in control, and I was unbelievably certain, see, I'm even spitting with that certainty, around how to get the results that we needed. And at my very first performance review, 7 out of the 8 people gave me 1 out of 5 in terms of my leadership capability. The one girl that gave me a 5 out of 5 was the resident drug addict and wild child. And that did not inspire much confidence for me. So I turned into this. And when you are in the company of bullies, it's not a great place to be because it takes a lot of energy And it takes a lot of self-belief to actually end up damaging people, because this is what you do. So when you hang out with control, command, and certainty, this is the kind of behavior that you generate from your teams. And I think probably for me the worst was the prejudice and the dogmatism and the cynicism. So I created a group of people that were unbelievably cynical. And I think in the playground of commerce, when the bullies reign, over seriousness is king. And over seriousness is that place we go to when things matter so much. Because you must believe you are in the place where you feel enormously, don't you? It matters that things make a difference. It matters that they have impact. And it matters that people transform as a result of the work that you do. But what it does do when you live in that place of over-seriousness is you actually start breeding the exact opposite behavior to what it is that you want. Your work becomes mediocre because you put so much pressure on yourself. Dissatisfaction grows. People get alienated and disconnected from one another. And suddenly we start building millions of processes and procedures so we can try and control this environment that we can't anyway. Sound familiar? Okay, good. I have another way that you can live in the world of work. Because I think that bravery, curiosity, and playfulness are the antidote to over-seriousness. And I don't just believe this, I have lived this. So, firstly, you need bravery to act in the face of perceived certainty. Because you know what? Any experience that is extraordinary has an element or risk and uncertainty at its core. So if you want to do creatively brave work, if you want to create campaigns and make a difference in your organization and not be seen as the arts and craft department, you need uncertainty. Know what I'm saying? The second thing we need is that we need playfulness to experiment in the face of control. Because what playfulness allows us to do is to be immediately in the present. And what do we know about the present? When we're in the present, we're safe. Because innovation, this is what you guys do. You innovate, you create, you engage. These come from a place of not knowing. These don't come from a place of control. So if the life's blood of what you need to do come from a place of not knowing, lose the control. And then I thought, actually, you know what? I mean, I'm actually a professor of play. So that I'm not going to talk to you about play. I want you to experience play. So I want you to stand. And this is a game you can take back to your organizations for free. Okay, Pepe? So Pepe and I are going to demonstrate. It's a game called 1, 2, 3. Find yourself someone to play with. I know this feels like going back to nursery school and going, oh my God, there's no one next to me. Just turn around and grab someone. Okay, so this is how it goes. This person in the front doesn't have a person. Who doesn't have a person?
There, Heidi, over there.
Okay, here's the person. So everyone's got a person. You can't have 3 people, just 2. Okay. So we're going to do the first round. The first round, complete standard grade, very, very easy. It's a game called 1, 2, 3. You're going to do 5 rounds, okay? And this is how it's going to go. 1,
2,
3,
1,
2,
3,
1,
2,
3,
1,
2.
3.
There we go. Off you go. 5 rounds.
So cool.
And then the... Okay, you done? Okay. So now for the higher grade version. One becomes clap. So you don't say one, you go, two remains two, three becomes, so only 3 rounds we're going to demonstrate.
2.
2,
Yes! She beat me this morning and I've beaten her.
okay, so go.
Oh, how amazing.
Yes. It's fine, I'm going to call you for the next one. Okay, sit. Guys, you're eating into my time, and I've got more games to teach you. So I want to ask you, what did you do when you made a mistake? You laughed. And then what did you do? You tried again. That's the power of play. When you make a mistake, you laugh and you try again. There wasn't one person going, oh no, I've never done this before. I'm not up for this. That's the power of play. The third thing you need is curiosity to challenge command. Because curiosity, what's so beautiful about curiosity is that curiosity is an appreciating asset. The more you use your curiosity, the more it grows. So, have a look at this. You've got 10 seconds. See how many instances of aquamarine you can see in this picture. Go. Count in your head. Okay, now that you're full of all of your uncertainty, I'm going to change the question. Because isn't that the environment that we operate in? We come with the questions that we know, that we're in control and command and certainty of, and then the questions change. So, how many instances of eyes were in that picture? Who saw one? Raise your hands. 1 eye, 2 eyes, 3, 4, 5. There were actually 6. They're there, and they're there. So the point is that the real voyage of discovery, it's not about going to new lands, but it's about having new eyes. So how do you look with fresh eyes? You look with fresh eyes by knowing that the answers are going to be changed and that you're comfortable in that. We don't live in a world of answers. We live in a world of multiple questions that allow us to get extraordinary texture and depth into what it is that we're doing. I love that this guy's nodding. I'm just loving you. I'm just like, you are my oak. I'm looking at no one else. So how do we befriend these kids? Bravery, playfulness, and curiosity. And I would like to suggest 5 steps you can take right now. Because it's also not so fab when you come to these things that people say to you, you've got to be all brave and curious and playful. You're like, I don't know where to start. So here is a way to start. Play more. Just play more. Because who wouldn't want this for themselves and in their teams and in their organizations? This is the benefit of playfulness. This is what playfulness does. And most importantly, the energy that it heightens, the ease that it creates around adaptation, the decision-making that becomes better, and the flawed commercial acumen that changes when you are playful is enormous. And I think that is why playfulness is becoming such an incredibly important new leadership practice in organizations. Because when you play, you're not scared. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. When you play, you're not like, I wonder, I'm terrified about what the outcome's going to be. You're just in it. Like when you were playing 1, 2, 3, you're just in the middle of it, aren't you? You're not thinking of anything else. So I thought also, let me give you another tool for your kit. So my grandmother and I used to play Snap when I was little. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. It's that card game where you like gooi a card, and if you've got a 5 and they've got a 5, you go Snap. So I went to Denmark, and they taught me a way to play Snap that doesn't involve resources, because they're very thoughtful, the Danes. So we're going to teach you the game. Come, Peppy. But we've got a competition on because he wants to beat me with this one. So. Okay, so how the game goes, you can call a number between 1 and 5. So don't call 6. Call a number between 1 and 5. And to call the number, you're going to fist bump. So when you fist bump, look how pressurized he is. He's like, you mustn't be over serious. This is just a game. This is just a game. Okay. So we're going to have, he goes, it's not a game. So we're going to do 3 rounds. Okay. 2, 1, snap. Okay, I've got 1. 3, 4, 5, snap. Okay, 2, 1 more. 1. Okay. 3, 2, 4, 1.
You want it again?
Okay, so stand and go.
You are the fucking champion at that game.
So lovely to see you.
Amazing. Amazing. Like this.
Did you win? Okay. So in order for us to be more, that was fun, hey? And you can play it with anyone. You need nothing. You don't need budget. You don't need a manager. You don't need a team. Okay. So to be more curious, this for me is possibly the most powerful practice around building your curiosity. And it comes from a man called Ernst Rutherford. Ernst Rutherford was a chemist, and he had a group of chemists that worked with him. And they had this extraordinary challenge that they were dealing with, and they'd spent years and they just couldn't solve it. And eventually he said to his team, you know what? He said, let's just start looking differently. Let's actually just be fascinated by what we don't know. Let's be fascinated by our own ignorance, and let's look for the anomalies. So you know what? Come to me every 2 days and just report back to me anything that's happening in the experimentation that's different to what you think it should be. So anything that shows up as anomalies. And they did this. They did this for a year. And Ernst Rutherford, who is known today as the father of nuclear physics, him and his team, after a year of being fascinated by their own ignorance, split the atom. So you want to be more curious? Learn from Ernst Rutherford. Be fascinated by your own ignorance. The third one is slow down. So I'm a great believer that for any concept to have real depth, it needs to have a paradox that sits at its heart. And I think the paradox about the environments that we operate in today is that as our environments get exponentially faster, we need to slow down. Because you cannot match the speed of the environment you are operating in. So you need to try something different. Because the bullies, control, command, and certainty will say, just go faster. And then we land up in a world of hurt. So what this says is, slow down. Speed is the enemy of nearly everything in life that really matters. It's addictive, and it undermines quality, compassion, depth, creativity, appreciation, and real connection, all the things that you need to do well in the industry that you're in. And one of the ways to be able to slow down is to celebrate the present. You know, I've got a great friend who started off as probably one of the most brilliant human rights lawyers. And she decided to become a Buddhist. And it wasn't that she worked for Investec and they burnt her out and then she decided she's becoming a Buddhist. She just decided she wanted to be a Buddhist. And she said to me the most extraordinary learnings of becoming a Buddhist have been that she finally realizes the safety of the present. She said, when we live in the past, we are full of regret and remorse. When we live in the future, we are full of anxiety. But in the present, we're safe. Because when we're safe, we don't need control. And I thought, just in closing around how to get to the present, possibly the easiest and most accessible way is through breath. So I want to teach you a breathing technique that just works phenomenally for me. Because I'm actually like shy. So this is my persona, but I'm actually quite shy. So I can get quite anxious. So what breath does is it just anchors you immediately in the present. So it's called 4-6-8 breathing. You're going to breathe in, it's all through your nose if you can. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4, you're going to hold for 6, and you're going to breathe out for 8. If you can, all through your nose. I'll count the first one, and then you'll do it at your own pace because your lungs are different. Okay, so let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, breathe out for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, at your own pace. Out breath longer than in breath and hold in the middle. Go. One more time. And what you've gone into now is what's called a parasympathetic state of ease. Imagine work happened in this space. And it can. And it can. You just need to breathe. You bully. Okay. So in closing, I'd like to give you a gift. And it's a gift of a poem. So I'd like you to close your eyes, if you can. And the poem is called The Quiet Line. Speak to me of living things, of fire and passion, of air and water. Remind me again that life lives through me. I wanted a poem of bravery I could chant into the cold morning, but I know now that my courage is a quiet line of awareness that sits inside of me. It needs no words, or gestures to grow. It is, I am not afraid. Life lives through me. Thank you.